15th, 2022. Loads we got to get into in this next little bit. Appreciate you guys that's going to be checking this out, be it live or on demand and on the downloads. As always, shout out to our audio listeners, particularly. I got to say, I was a little bit concerned. Well, not really concerned, but I was curious. I think that's the better term of words I can use. I was curious to see for our audio listeners how you all have been enjoying the NWA coverage, because numbers mean everything to me. And I see as far as the audio goes, you guys definitely have been representing, checking it out and everything. So I appreciate that. Please continue to show that love and that support. Look, I know that for a lot of our core audience, they care a great deal about all the craziness that's been going down yesterday. Really, let's address that elephant in the room, that big news that came about yesterday. But then you also got to think about the news that we got from Monday as well, involving a certain Texas rattlesnake, right? I'm gonna let you guys know this off the break. I won't be getting into all of that on this show, as normally we just talk exclusively NWA. We show NWA a lot of love exclusively on these shows. But I will be back later on tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern after Dynamite goes off the air, and we will dive into everything in regards to those particular topics. I got loads to say about that, so definitely tune in. Should be a pretty fun show. You got to forgive me in advance if you may see me from time to time just kind of look over to my side here. I've got my furry little daughter Chloe with me, and she's a little lonely right now. She's got all her toys and everything, but I think she wants to say hello to you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and let her say hello here. Let her make her nice little cameo here, and we'll see how long this will hold up here. But she just has to make her little cameo. She's got to make her presence felt here because she is such a diva. Yes, she is a diva. She is very vocal. I've owned a few dogs in my time, and none have been extremely vocal as she is. From the moment she wakes up, when she wants to say hello, it's just cute little noises. She's very vocal, though. So, look, before we get ready to talk about NWA Power, can we rewind it back just a little bit? I do want to give you guys a few bullet points, thoughts rather, as far as this past weekend's NWA USA. We got even deeper into the bracket to crown a new junior heavyweight championship, and we're now down to the final four. Yeah, the final four. It's been amazing over the course of these past NWA USA episodes how quickly we've been able to get down to the final four. But that's the case. We're finally down to the final four. And remember that we're not going to be crowning a new junior heavyweight champion until the Crockett Cup tournament event that's going to be going down. That is where we'll finally see the new junior heavyweight champion be crowned. But NWA USA from this past weekend, I felt it was a pretty good show for what it was worth. Another fast 30-something minutes. I got to say to you guys, another fast 30-something minutes. I loved it. I ate it up. Austin Aries offering some thoughts to May Valentine about homicide, and Austin Aries letting it be known, yo, I'm very familiar with my man Austin Aries. Homicide, I should say. Austin Aries letting May know what homicide is all about. He's very well familiar with the man. It's not his first rodeo with homicide, but he's looking forward to locking it up with him, basically. Colby Carino, meanwhile, had took on Kerry Morton. Now, I'm not sure if he's turned 21 yet. I believe he has, or maybe he's about to. So happy birthday, I guess, or belated birthday in advance to Kerry Morton, the son of Ricky Morton, Rock and Roll Express there. This was actually a pretty good one-on-one for what it was worth. Of all the matches that I was looking forward to in the brackets, this is actually the one I was looking forward to the most, because these were basically two young prospects. These are what I feel is two guys that you really need to have your eyes on as far as going down that rabbit hole in the very near future. That could be a household name for the NWA if established right and everything. And the future definitely looks extremely bright for guys like Kerry Morton and Colby Corino. I thought this was a really good back and forth between these guys. The only thing that I wasn't exactly a fan of was the fact that we had outside interference from the Fixers, Jay Bradley and Wrecking Ball, Legursky. Yeah, they definitely took their opportunities when they saw fit, distracting the referee a little bit, getting in a little bit of a cheap shot here and there. Kerry's dad, Ricky, tried to do his best to have everything balanced out, but come on, when you're just one man at ringside and you're trying to do your very best to see that, okay, I'm trying to make sure I got this guy in check, a little bit hard to keep another guy in check, right? They really should have had even numbers is the whole point that I'm making. They really should have had even numbers, and I can't help but think about what could possibly be the blowback from this, if there's any, because remember, George South from a couple of weeks ago, he took issue with the fact that when he was being jumped by the Fixers, Ricky Morton did not come out and have his back, to which Ricky said, hey, I wasn't even aware what was going on with you. I wasn't even aware that you were having, some type of issues with the Fixers and everything. That might be true, but we never did hear Ricky Morton say to George South, look, let me make it up to you, after everything that we've been through and all that, look, let me make it up to you next go round. I'll definitely make sure that, I have your back, and we never did see that. So I can't help but wonder if George South may have some parting words, some cheap shot words to say to, Kerry Morton specifically, following up on everything that came about with his son being involved. I'm talking about Kerry Morton's son being involved in this semi-final match against Colby Corino. But Colby going over, little shenanigans going on in that matchup, but, he got it done. I never was really convinced that Kerry Morton was going to advance. I never was really convinced. I always felt that Colby was going to be the one. But if you remember when we were going over the brackets, I remember saying at one particular point, is it even possible that they could have Austin Aries against Colby Corino? Is it even possible that two heels could go at it in the same match? And now it kind of looks as though that's exactly how things have panned out for our Final Four. But yeah, good opener for what it was worth for NWA USA. From there, Cal Davis is chatting it up with Anthony Mayweather. Remember, one of the last times we saw Anthony Mayweather, he was getting a strong pep talk by his good friend in Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis basically telling him, yo, what I've been seeing of you as of late, it sucks. You ain't, racking in on those W's. You're hurting, brother. You need to get back to basics. You need to, dig deep, and you need to start closing the freaking deals. So we haven't seen Anthony Mayweather since, but here he was chatting it up with Cal Davis, and those words, that tough love that Nick Aldis had for him, it really resonated with him. And as far as he's concerned, he could make excuses. He could mention the fact that maybe he's been a little bit distracted over what's been going on with his feud with Jax Dane. Maybe it could even be the injuries. Maybe it could just be the grind of life in general. But bringing up any of those things, it's not going to get him anywhere. And when it's all said and done, if anything, all of those things have gotten him losses. And he's got to start closing as far as he's concerned. He brings it back to losing that NWA USA match a few weeks ago against Marche Rocket. And he said, any other day of the week, 99 out of 100, I can beat Marche Rocket. He wants to run it back. Black G's hears this. He comes on out with Marche, And Black G's tells him straight up, hey, it might be true. It might be true that 99 out of 100 times you were to lock it up with Marche Rocket, yeah, you probably could beat him. But when it counted the most, when it was all on the line, you couldn't get it done that one time against Black G's. So Black G's pretty much letting Anthony Mayweather know he's more than open to running it back, but he just continued to talk some hot trash as Mayweather had enough and just walked away. So that pretty much was the end of that. But I like that we still got that built-in storyline with these two guys from several weeks ago. I'm actually digging that. And if they are going to run it back, look, not for nothing, but the first rodeo round that we saw them lock it up on NWA USA, I thought it was actually a pretty good match and everything. So to see these guys run it back again, I can't help but wonder how would this exactly develop, because there's a couple of different directions you could go with this. You could either go in a direction where Anthony Mayweather loses again, and maybe, just maybe, you have Black G's say something along the lines of, look, if you really want to get your career popping, you know, it's a new year, why not let it be a new you? Maybe consider signing up with, what is it, Austin Idolmania, whatever, Black G's production, whatever the hell they are calling it these days. Maybe you could kind of see that come about, where there's that tease that they're trying to recruit him for Idolmania Enterprises. Of course, he shoots it down, but you could go in that direction if you wanted to. I think that might be actually pretty good. Let me know what you guys think about that, but I think that actually might be a pretty good option right there. Meanwhile, May Valentine is with Camille as we find out an interesting development here, which is Camille is going to be at ringside watching the match between Natalia Markova and Kenzie Page. So here we are once again following up on Markova and Kenzie Page and their little bit of feud that's been developing these past couple of weeks on NWA USA. Of course, May Valentine still trying to, you know, she has her own agenda from what we've been seeing on these USA episodes, where she's trying to get Markova put in. Oh, you all right, little buddy? What's wrong? What's wrong? You okay? What's wrong? Where she's trying to put her, I know what you want. You want some food. That's what you want. You want some food. Hang on, guys. Maybe, I think that's her way of either saying she's thirsty or she's hungry. Let me see which one is it. She's probably thirsty. But, there you go. Try that. Yeah, but I was digging that. I was digging that. So we got this nice little development here where Camille is going to be at ringside watching Markova and Kenzie. That's what it was. She was thirsty. And Kenzie Page going at it. Tim Storm actually appeared in this matchup as well. So basically, from what I was able to get from this, we basically had, now what? Now what do you want? Honey, I'm trying to do a show. You're going to have to wait. You were good before. True story, I spent 45 minutes making sure she was good to go before I went live, and she didn't utter a peep. She was playing with her toys and everything, and that's just how she is, man. She wants her attention. She wants that undivided attention. She don't want no tablet. She don't want no TV. She don't want you doing anything. She is, trust me when I say she is really a diva over here. Yes, she is a diva. All about her. But yeah, to see if I can finish my train of thought here. So Kenzie Page, Natalia Markova, one-on-one. Camille Tim Storm at ringside to ensure that no shenanigans was going to be going on from either party in this matchup. They wanted for there to be a decisive victor. And at one point, towards the end of the match, we actually saw Camille go into business for herself. And while the referee was distracted, we actually saw at one point Markova outside the ring And she got in, Camille, that is, she got in a cheap plug there. She got in a nice cheap hit on Markova. Markova looked on, wondering what the hell was that about. She went on to try to grab a steel chair. If I remember correctly, Tim Storm, I think, yeah, Raven. Raven actually came out. Once again, we got this running gag here with Raven. If you've been checking out the past couple of shows, look, I don't even need to go in depth on that, but we're still dealing with this Raven factor, and we just don't know. I'm not gonna dive into it, okay? It's nerve wracking, isn't it? It's kind of okay. It's cool to see Raven, but what the fuck, right? Seriously. So you got all of that going on. Yet, despite all of these shenanigans that went down, because you thought for sure at one point referee was eventually going to see all this craziness that was going on. I'm honestly surprised at the way this match was laid out, that the referee didn't go on ahead and say, okay, you know what, you, and you, all y'all are out of here. Y'all are ejected. You know, I got authority here. This is my match. Y'all are out. I'm surprised it didn't go down like that, as everything had continued despite all of that. Somehow Markova picking up the win. You know, I wish I could have seen those two girls go at it without all of that interference. But at the same time, one new narrative that you have that came out of it is the fact that now officially Markova is coming out of that match against Kenzie saying, okay, so it's like that, Camille, huh? It's like that. So now you got a nice little wrinkle there, beef, if you will, between Camille and Natalia Markova. Could that eventually culminate in Markova ultimately becoming a number one contender and maybe face Camille for the Burke? I mean, not for nothing, but Markova's growing on me. And definitely when we get ready to talk about Power in a hot little bit, honestly, I think if there was any match, I would say go out of your way and check it out from Power this week. Definitely go out of your way and check out Genocide versus Natalia Markova, because Markova, she's finally starting to win me over. I'll definitely admit that. She's finally starting to win me over there. Other than that, man, that was pretty much it for NWA USA. Again, 2-match format, sometimes 3, about 30 minutes of an episode, in and out. That's pretty much it. That's how I like it, man. In and out. That's how you do it. NWA Power for this week, the British Invasion. Doug Williams and Nick Aldis in action against Fable, Jake, and Jaden Roller. Nice little opener. British Invasion going over here. I mean, there was no major development as far as what was going on here with this particular match. There wasn't anything high of stakes, nothing like that going on in regards to this match. You just gotta have that attention, don't you? Right? You just gotta have that. Yeah, you just nodded your head too. You're like, yes, daddy, yes. Tootie Lynn, meanwhile, taking on Marty Bell. This one, it was actually pretty good. Tootie Lynn. I love seeing Tootie Lynn. I'm definitely a fan of Tootie Lynn. I've been impressed with her work ever since we first saw her at Empower, didn't we? Yeah, I believe that's when. No, wait a minute. Yeah, we first saw her at Empower. Yeah, I'm definitely loving her work. She's really coming into her own. Very smooth, very crisp in her one-on-one match against Marty Bell here. She just continues to get better and better as far as I'm concerned. I like the fact that Kylie Ray was at ringside holding up a Let's Go Tootie Lynn joint, a little sign. You know, it wasn't a big old sign either. It was basically, she took a piece of paper. She took a piece of paper with a little Sharpie, and that pretty much was it. That's how she did it. And you're just going, that's so ghetto. Like seriously, that's so ghetto. But it was cool. So, nice development right here is Tootie Lynn picking up the upset The upset win over Marty Bell. Now, as much as I was giving Tootie Lynn praise there, I do have to admit one thing. The finish to the match, which had called for Tootie Lynn pretty much out of nowhere getting a roll up on Marty Bell, man, other than the Owen Hart, what was it, the Steve Austin roll up on Owen Hart when he took that botch pile driver, and that was probably one of the worst roll ups in wrestling history. This definitely makes the top 10 list. It was a pretty bad roll up, man. It seemed as though that roll up was just an eternity, man. An eternity of a roll up. I was not a fan of that whatsoever. Bear with me one second here. Poor little darling. Poor little darling. I'm paying attention to the chat room. This is, I gotta tell you, when you got a puppy and then you're live and then you're also trying to pay attention to the chat, it can be a lot for one person here. So bear with me a second here. Mama, 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 mama. See, this is what I mean. She's a drama queen. She's got to have that attention. She's got to have that attention. As long as I'm, talking to her and we're making that eye contact, she is just, oh, daddy, but the minute, just look, just the minute that I'm just going like this and I'm trying to focus on you guys, she's going to start making her presence felt. Just watch. Just watch. You see, she's already trying. I think she might have a bright career ahead of her as far as being a DJ or something. Maybe she can be a vocalist for us or something. I don't know. Let me see here. I saw some spam in the chat here. Give me a second here. We got some spam in the chat. I know, Mama. I know. Let's see here. Let me mute that and let's get that out the way. These VYN.FYI joints is fucking irritating, man. For those of you that don't know, there's like some weird spam that's going on every time we stream live, man. So it's fucking irritating. All right, so there we go. Knock that out. Okay, and let me pause this real quick. Okay, so you're not really gonna allow me to do the show in peace. I don't know, guys. We may have to abruptly end the stream here because she's a little bit too much of a handful. And you gonna be good? You gonna let me get through the last couple of minutes here? Huh? You gonna let me get through the last couple of minutes here? Huh? Be quiet, okay? Be quiet. You were good before. I made sure you were okay before we went live. So why you acting up now, huh? Why you showing off? Why you showing off, mama? Why you showing off? Huh? Be good. Be good. No. Daddy's got to finish the show. Daddy's got to finish the show. Let's see. No, stop. See, I'm being nice. You gonna bring bad daddy out. Stop. Let's see. Where were we here? We were talking about Tootie Lynn, Marty Bell. So, yeah, bad roll up. That was a bad roll up, but they still got the victory there. Tootie Lynn getting the victory there on Marty Bell. This sets up something very interesting, I personally feel, which is now you have Tootie Lynn that can claim that she got a victory over one half of the NWA Women Tag Champions. So you've got that going on. Now, if we can follow that up somehow with Kylie Rae getting an upset win over Allison Kay, because I'm just going through my memory banks, I don't think that's happened yet. I don't think we've seen Kylie Rae take on Allison Kay. But if we can somehow follow up and have that come about, then definitely you can now make an argument for Tootie Lynn and Kylie Rae that by default they should be the ones to challenge the NWA Tag Team Champions. So, and I think that's exactly the direction we're heading in. So that should actually be a pretty good tag match. Honestly, should be a pretty good tag match. By the way, I gotta show some love to my girl Allison Kay. It's very rare we see Allison Kay in a skirt. And man, the skirt she was wearing was on freaking fire. for this past week's episode. I gotta say, I was feeling it. I was feeling it. Sion chatting it up with Austin Idol as Idol has offered his services to Sion against Judas. And Sion letting it be known straight up he doesn't need Austin Idol's help because of who his father is. He wasn't just any NWA champion, he is a NWA World Heavyweight champion. From there, I teased it earlier, Natalia Markova taking on Genocide. Yo, this was a hard hitting freaking match. I loved it. I freaking loved it. These girls were just slapping the hell out of each other, chopping the hell. This was physical. You know, they had one good spot that I had loved where they had one good spot that I loved where they were fighting outside of the ring, and Genocide somehow manages to catch Markova as Markova jumped on the side apron. She was looking for some type of an attack, but instead she basically lands on the shoulders of Genocide. And Genocide just freaking throws her against the hard part of the apron. Oh, that was a beautiful ass spot. I was loving that. I was freaking loving that. There was a couple of rough spots in here, but for the most part, I enjoyed the fuck out of this. It was hard hitting. I gotta give it up to both girls. Freaking hard hitting match right here. And I like the finish to this. I like the finish to this because this actually ended on a count out, a double count out, as both girls. I mean, that's how much animosity and all that was built in. This is actually one of the better feuds that they've been building up so far in the NWA. And it was nice that we just got it down to a point where it was all about Markova and Genocide, and we didn't have Pola Blaze and Taryn Terrell. Look, I like them and everything. They're cool, especially Taryn Terrell. No shade on Taryn Terrell. But, you didn't really need all of that going into this match. Just let these two just go in there. There's the ring. Go do your thing. And I love that. I love that for what it was worth. Meanwhile, third matchup, Christi Jaynes taking on the beautiful and the lovely Melina. Christi Jaynes, you know what? She reminds me so much, just appearance-wise. She reminds me so much of Nydia. I don't know how many of you guys remember Nydia. If you are a younger wrestling fan, then you're not going to know who I'm talking about. But if you remember Nydia, I think that'll definitely put a smile on you all's face, and you all definitely, yeah, Lee, I remember. She reminds me a lot of Nydia appearance-wise, wrestling-wise. Definitely, she's in a league of her own as Christi Jaynes, and I mean that in the most positive way. This is one of the rare handful of times that I can count off on my hand that I have seen a singles match involving Christi Jaynes, and each time I see her, it just seems she's getting better and better. And I love this girl. She is fucking badass. Now I know for some of you guys, you may say, "Oh well, Lee, I remember her when she debuted for AEW." I don't really remember that. Really, I sadly don't. Yet for some weird reason, maybe because that's just how much of a fan at times I am of the Impact Wrestling product, I do remember her debut for Impact Wrestling at the Bash at the Brewery 2, where she had took on Kiera Hogan. I do remember that matchup, but yeah, it's nice to see that she's finally starting to build a really good rapport on USA Wrestling Programming. That's just my whole point, basically, because she's mainly been wrestling for promotions in Mexico and not really so much in the States, really. So it's nice to see that she's doing her thing more and more. But she's got a great look. I love her arsenal, and I tell you what, her and Melina there was great chemistry between these two girls in this matchup. I loved it. I loved it. It was actually one of my other favorite matches from out of this episode that I definitely would say go out of your way and check this one out too when it becomes available. And shout out to the one guy. We had a listener that had came across one of the shows that we had put out talking NWA, I think from last week or the week before, and he was saying something about, oh man, how can I watch NWA? Yeah, I like Melina. I'm in love with Melina. I've been following her work for so many years. I wasn't even aware she was doing stuff for the NWA and all that. And friendly reminder once again, especially given the fact that I've been seeing these comments more and more, not just that comment that I mentioned, but I've also seen people that have said, WWE sucks, or AEW sucks, or this sucks, or that sucks. Man, it's 2022, and there are so many promotions that are out there that you can go and check out. A lot of these promotions, the shows that they offer, you can watch them somewhere on social media for free. There's nothing to it but let your fingers do a little bit of walking for a couple of minutes, and if you're that burned out over whatever the promotion is that you're just not feeling anymore, you got so many choices in 2022 and beyond. There's nothing to it but to put in the work and expand your horizons and everything. But for those of you that are interested in checking out the NWA product for free, remember NWA Power episodes are released on Fridays. And then on Saturdays, NWA USA is released at 12:05 p.m. Eastern every Saturday at that same time. So you can catch two shows for free on NWA's YouTube channel. Always remember that, okay? And you guys will be good to go. Moving on, though, but again, great matchup between Melina and now I still got a bone to pick. I still got a bone to pick with NWA. How do we not show some love there over the fact that representing NWA and and all that good stuff that Melina did at the Royal Rumble there? We still don't acknowledge that. It would have been very easy to slide in some audio and just go right in there, but still no love, much like with the whole Matt Cardona winning the NWA World title. We'll talk about that in a hot second there, but good matchup there. Let's see. Victor Benjamin was in action against Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona picking up the win there. Main event match, El Rudo. This was our Team War matchup. This was the finale. Remember, the winning team gets $30,000. El Rudo, Strictly Business, teamed up to face, and for Strictly Business, remember, that's Tom Latimer and Chris Adonis teaming up with El Rudo. Went on to face the team of Rodney Mack and the Ends, Odison and Pharaoh. Your winners of that one, El Rudo and Strictly Business. They did a little bit of cheating in there to win and everything. But yeah, I think the right team went over. Here. I really wish it could have been Rodney Mack and the End, just because I'm a huge fan of Rodney Mack personally, and I love the fuck out of the End, but Strictly Business, El Rudo, I'm okay with this because right now if you really stop and think about it, they really aren't doing anything. They haven't really been doing anything for NWA programming these past couple of weeks. Yeah, they've cut some promos here and there. Yeah, they've maybe been involved in a couple of singles matches here and there, but they really haven't been doing anything substantial. So I'm actually okay with them winning this. Gives them really good bragging rights, okay? And not to mention, something that continues to be teased is when are we going to see Chris Adonis defend his NWA title, his respected title? When are we the national championship? When are we going to see him defend his title? And he's saying he's a fighting champion, but as we saw from this past week's NWA USA, he teased the idea that if it's who I think it's going to be, what a joke. So hopefully we'll know very soon who that potential opponent might be and everything. And then Latimer, they kind of got a little ice cold with Latimer there within recent weeks. So hopefully we can see this basically propel these guys and kind of build off of that when it's all said and done. So unless you were living under a rock, that's NWA Power, by the way. So unless you've been living under a rock, we had got a huge development from over the weekend in regards to the NWA POWERRR Trip event. And I thought for sure that was going to be a show. You lost all your toys, didn't you? Look at that. All your toys are on the floor here. Here. Yeah, that was pretty interesting, wasn't it? I thought for sure in regards to NWA POWERRR Trip, I thought for sure we were going to be able to watch that through Fight TV. And that wasn't the case at all. And not for nothing, but the card was relatively good. And yet we didn't have access to it this past weekend, which sucks because the biggest development that came from out of this is the fact that we now have a new NWA World Heavyweight Champion and Matt Cardona as he defeated Trevor Murdoch. I'm not going to be long-winded about this. First of all, Matt Cardona has been busting his fucking ass ever since he was released by the WWE. I think he's done a phenomenal job in, rebranding himself and just reigniting his passion, his love for the sport of professional wrestling, and just everything that he's been doing, he's been tearing it up. I know some people feel a certain way towards him, whatever emotions that he is able to get off of people, good, bad, indifferent, he's getting some type of reaction. He's always building some type of buzz online, and you just got to appreciate that hustle, regardless if he's one of your favorites or not. You just got to respect the man's hustle. So I'm sure Billy Corgan and them, they're going, man, we gotta tap into some of that. We gotta get a taste of some of that, because some of that would really help us out tremendously. And some people can make an argument that is NWA kind of chasing clout here? What exactly is going on? You could, if you wanted to make an argument, you could definitely do that. Can we all be honest though? And this was an issue that I had brought up a long time ago, months ago. I said, yo, not sure what's going on here with Trevor Murdoch and his whole run as the NWA World Champion, but it feels as though he is just an afterthought. It feels as though he is secondary. He's taking a backseat to all of these other guys that's coming into the NWA. And, look at what's going on here. And, it really makes you, when you take a step back and you just think about the run of Trevor Murdoch as an NWA champion, you really just feel that he was just a transitional champion, that it was just all about the good feel moment. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I thought the story that they told of Nick Aldis, Trevor Murdoch for the 10 pounds of gold, I thought that was the most fantastic storytelling that they did. And I remember months prior when I made the prediction, as far as who could be the one, why not Trevor Murdoch? You can go in a direction where it's basically Harley Race, Nick Bockwinkel, basically Harley Race, Ric Flair. You could almost go in that direction. People thought I was crazy for saying that. They were just, Trevor Murdoch? Like, seriously? And the more people thought about it, he's actually making, yeah, you know what? Okay. And the payoff was great. Don't get me wrong. The payoff was great. But it just seemed as though after that honeymoon period settled in, it almost just felt as though, okay, now what do we do? Well, not really sure. And yeah, that's just how I look at Trevor Murdoch's championship run. It's just, I mean, damn, we could have at least got a Nick Aldis Trevor Murdoch rematch for the championship, and we never got that. It's just interesting. It's very interesting how things panned out with this. And look, don't get me wrong. I think Matt Cardona is going to do very well as an NWA World Champion. I mean, he literally, I say to Billy Corgan and them, utilize that man, capitalize off of that buzz. If it means it'll put more eyeballs on your product, if it means it'll get you more traction, engagement on social media, freaking do it. You know, as long as it's positive, as long as you are legit able to see that, and not for nothing, but I did notice there were a lot of wrestling news sites from the weekend that were reporting on Matt Cardona winning the NWA Championship and everything. So you know, it's definitely doing its thing. To my point. So as long as they're able to continue to do that, I think nothing but good things can and will happen for the NWA. But you know, I go back. I can't help but go back and say, okay, you had this big development that went down, and you had so many people that, oh wow, Matt Cardona. Okay, I gotta watch this pay per view. What's going on? To the point, there were so many people that were online. Yo, I want to watch this pay per view. What's going on? And you got freaking Fight TV saying, oh, don't worry. Very soon we'll make the announcement on how you're gonna be able to watch this. And it's okay. We should already have that ready to go. What the hell is going on here? Not cool. Can you just imagine if you're one of those NWA fans that paid the $49.99 subscription so you can get all the pay-per-views and all the exclusive, that might have been under the impression, oh, I'm going to be able to watch this because I'm paying the $49.99, so I'm going to be able to watch this pay-per-view event, and they weren't able to watch the pay-per-view event? I would not be surprised if some people that paid that $49.99, to my point, felt a little bit misled, right? And maybe, hey, I want a refund because, yo, I thought I was going to be able to watch this. Like, this is an NWA pay-per-view, ain't it? And I wasn't able to watch this. What the hell? So the fact that we're going to have to wait weeks to see this, I got to say, not a good move. It really isn't a good move on the part of Billy and NWA. I really feel that the way they should have gone into this respected episode of NWA, they should have spliced in there. You heard about it, folks. You heard what went down at NWA POWERRR Trip. They should have somehow spliced it in. As look at what we've been getting these past couple of weeks. There's been no mention of this POWERRR Trip event other than the commercial spots. But I mean, as far as really, really going in and just, okay, they're hyping up, they're building towards this show. You see how AEW will build towards that pay per view, WWE will build towards this pay per view, Impact will build towards this respected pay per view, ROH will build towards this respected, New Japan is building up towards blah, 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 yakety smack, right? And yet there is just no, not even subtle mentions, and it's out of whack when it's all said and done. It's out of whack. You know, I wish they could just do a better job splicing stuff in, you know, adding some audio commentary. They got to do a better job doing all of that to try to keep as current as humanly possible, reflect, you know, whatever big news went down over the weekend. You got to somehow go in and kind of reflect that. If that means that you need to hold an episode off for a day or two to make it so, you know, I think that freaking counts. I think you should go ahead and do that, as fans want to have the most real-time information that's possible when it comes to their favorite wrestling promotions that they're checking out. You know, you can learn something when you look at how we alluded to it on the last show. Look at how Impact was doing it. Anytime there was a new development that was going on, or maybe somebody passed, Impact always did a good job just splicing in shit into that actual show and everything. And I don't know. But putting all that to the side, this was a fairly decent episode of NWA Power this week. But yo, you gotta capitalize off that buzz. You gotta ride that buzz for what it's worth, and you just gotta, right down to the point. Victor Benjamin taking on Matt Cardona for this week's Power. No mention of Cardona, Trevor Murdoch at Power Trip. No mention of that whatsoever. And then you see the latest piece of news that we found out about the Crockett Cup. Nick Aldis is going to be challenging Matt Cardona for the 10 pounds of gold. And then let's not also forget, as a special guest MC, basically, in the role of Ric Flair and a few other people, we're going to be seeing Jeff Jarrett make an appearance at the Crockett Cup. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see that event that's going to be coming up, which, by the way, that reminds me, Jeff Jarrett's been on a roll, man. He's been doing his thing with the podcast with Conrad Thompson. Checked out a couple episodes, pretty damn good. We also got Jeff Jarrett, Conrad, Eric Bischoff. They're doing a Who's the Third Man event out in Texas. What is that? Is it April 1st? I gotta go back and look at the date again. I'll have it for you guys for Wednesday show after Dynamite. I don't know who the third man is going to be, though. Your guess is as good as mine. We're going to have to wait until next Monday to find out. I already put the thought in wifey's ear about, hey, we should go to that event. That actually looks like it might be pretty good. And she told me, she said, well, yeah, if we do it, we're going to have to fly again. So it's kind of like, let me think about that. Let me think about that because the flying before, But yeah, let's stick a fork in it. Let's call this episode DONE done. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me here during this little bit. I promise you guys, see, she wants attention. She's a drama queen, and when she doesn't have it, she lets it be known. I promise you guys, when we get ready to do the Wednesday night edition of the RCWR show after Dynamite's off the air, we will not have her in the studio, so I can definitely be more laser focused for you guys, okay? Promise you guys. By then, wifey will be home and she'll be able to watch Little Missy while I do my best to entertain you guys. But pat yourselves on the back if you were able to make it through the show here, as I was struggling there with the little darling there. Meantime, do me a huge favor if you haven't done so already. Make sure you hit that like button. When you do that, you really help us a ton as far as content recommendations from certain channels, particularly on YouTube. So definitely represent. Feel free to subscribe as well so you don't miss out on future content that comes your way. As I just said, I'll be back later on tonight, Wednesday, February 16th. 10 p.m. Eastern, after Dynamite goes off the air. We will talk about the Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes exit. We'll talk about this whole Stone Cold Steve Austin news. Dynamite, NXT had their Vengeance Day events. All of that. We also got to preview the Elimination Chamber that's going to be coming up this Saturday from Saudi Arabia. So loads that we'll be able to get into on the show. So check it out when you guys get a chance. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And until next go around, I'm wishing all of y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you all in just a hot little bit. Everybody else, take care. Peace, y'all.